Awesome.
Hey there.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am making it. It is
Excellent.
Yes, it is still a parallelogram, as they call it on Twitter. And I am still alive, so that's great. How are you?
Hey, I am still alive as well, and I am very grateful for that. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
I'm a huge fan.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Just for starters, for anyone who may be clueless to the world of tarot, birth charts, astrology, how can you break down, like, what would you describe what it is that you do?
What it is that I do? Well, what I do right now is I call myself an oracle. I don't like it when people call me a psychic, because like that brings too many expectations and like judgments or like pigeonholes or like stuff like that. And so it's a much broader scale. Like I guess what I do is I psychically connect with people, but I more pick up on your energies and like read through it for you and kind of give you my interpretation of it, to kind of help you get clarity. And there are moments where I'll pick up on something that's very specific to the situation, or things I wouldn't necessarily know if you hadn't told me or something like that. So that does happen, but like I'm not one of those psychics that like connects to people in the other world and has like full-on conversations and stuff like that. That's not me. But so I call myself an oracle because I'm also not a fortune teller, right? I'm not trying to tell you exactly what's going to happen, because ultimately, you know, you have free will. Everybody has free will, and so things can change in an instant. You know what I mean? So I'll give you the gist of it so that I like to say what I do is I channel energies for you to give you clarity, greater amount of clarity, so that you can make the best decision for yourself moving forward in whatever it is you're dealing with.
That's beautiful. I like that.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. I mean, I've had experiences where I've gone to like an actual like real life quote unquote psychic in person,
Yeah.
and versus that, you know, compared to what I watch just from like the comfort of my own home, watching you like talk and do the collective readings, so much more real what you do. Like, not saying that her gifts aren't real, and I do respect what she does, but I have just so much a sense of a better understanding of everything the way you put it, versus just someone who is real life like, oh, I'm a psychic, ooh, I went with an ex and she was like, I can tell you love him. Like, no shit, we're together. Like,
I mean, that's a little obvious,
right? Okay. So I appreciate what you do, and I love the way that you put that. Okay, with everyone doing this BlackGaySlay series that I have done with, you know, interviewing these queer people who happen to be black, I always ask, what is your coming out story and journey? And I wanted to pose that question to you, see if there's some significance there. What was that like for you?
Well, what's interesting is I actually never had a moment where I sat down with my mom and my dad and we had that talk. Like, that never happened. It was something that I think was always assumed. It was something you could always tell about me ever since I was very young, because I was always very effeminate and, you know, kind of a wimpy kid, but I was also very sensitive. I've always been very sensitive ever since I was very young. And it's that sensitivity that allows me to do what it is I do today. So, okay, obviously that was misunderstood as a kid, but now we get it. It's all right, fine. But, I mean, it was never... I officially came out myself, like, to my friends and all that in 10th grade.
Nice.
But then I never really sat down. It was kind of an uncomfortable thing. It was not something I really wanted to talk about with my parents. We didn't always have the best relationship growing up, just because of my sensitivity and their proclivities, and just like, it was just butting heads all the time. But, you know, and it didn't really become official until I was with David, and then we got married and everything, like, so, okay. But it was never, I don't really have a coming out story, I guess. I don't know.
No, I like that. That's real. Like, I've talked to so many people and they're like, it's kind of like, especially when it's people who are black, it's kind of like an unspoken thing. Like, when you know, and you kind of just like, it's almost taboo to even talk about it. Like,
Exactly.
It's weird.
Exactly, yeah.
Like I've had people like they're like, oh well, I try to come out, and they're like, we know, just it's very bad.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, I mean, I just never even went there, and it was, I'm gonna be honest, like it was kind of like, if you couldn't tell, you were probably sleeping under a rock, or like didn't really know me, or like really wasn't paying attention. You know, it was really hard for me to hide.
Aw, ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, I love it.
Me too.
You mentioned your ex, David. And I know that you made no bones about mentioning your past relationship in videos on YouTube, just being so giving with yourself and your story. And I know when you started your channel, you talk about how it was a very like intense time where you guys were, you know, breaking up. You were departing from that. I want to know, what about that time just made you want to say, okay, YouTube, that's the direction. This is what I want to go.
It was a combination of things. First, towards the end of, I had always been interested in things like the tarot and astrology and magic and the occult and all that stuff. Ever since I was very, very young, it's always been something that I've been interested in. So it's not like this is something that just popped in out of nowhere and was just like, let me do that. No. What happened was, I had been kind of, over my years, I think I was 30 by the time I left my now ex-husband. And so like over that course of 30 years off and on, I would read stuff, I would look into this and that, and I was like, oh, I love the tarot, I would love to read one day. And then towards the end of my relationship with my ex, I bought a deck of cards and really started studying it like seriously. And I had no other reason to do it as to the fact, other than the fact that I just really wanted to read for people. I caught this bug, and I was like, I want to read tarot cards. And I was living in New York City at the time, and I went to Namaste Bookshop on 14th Street in the East Village, where, you know, they sell cards and they sell all kinds of mystical stuff and books and everything. And they had this person there that would, James Jacob Pieri was his name, and he's a gypsy, and he taught tarot classes, and like I was studying, and I just had this drive. I can't even tell you what it was that like lit this fire in me again, but I just had this drive to learn the cards so that I could be a reader for people, because I knew I specifically wanted to be an intuitive reader, not a reader by the book. So I spent a lot of time learning the cards. And then it was also around this time that I started watching gurus on YouTube. So people like Infinite Waters and Teal Swan and Angel Souls 444 is when I got into card readings on YouTube. But it didn't start out as tarot. It was like angel readings and all kinds of stuff. And then I started slipping into that rabbit hole of like watching all of the different signs and everything. And it was very helpful during that time. And so right when I started watching the tarot readings on YouTube was when the end of the relationship really started to ramp up. In June of 2017 is when I actually moved from the East Village to Brooklyn. And then by January of 2018 is when I just started feeling this push from, like, I guess my spirit guides or my higher self or whatnot, whatever. I was like, because at one point I was watching these videos and I was like, I can do that. And then my guides were like, you know what, Eric, you're right. Why don't you start a channel? And I was like, whoa, wait a second. I mean, like, this escalated quickly. Like, I wasn't trying to say all that. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, come on, man. And then so they kept pushing me, and it was New Year's Eve of 2018. I was hanging out at the restaurant I was working at that time. 2017, and I had just started telling my friends that I was studying and all this stuff. And they were like, "Really? Can I get a reading?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so January, right before midnight, but like the New Year's Eve I was hanging out at this bar just doing readings for people, and it clicked. Like, people were like, "Whoa, that was like super accurate." So at that time, that's when my guides were really pushing me to do it. And by January 8th, I posted my first video, and the rest is history.
Yes, good old morning coffee.
Yeah, yes. Morning coffee actually didn't come until I think right before Divine Conversations turned 1. No. I was already a year into the channel before I started doing morning coffee.
Really?
Yeah, I've been going for 3 years now. January 8th of 2018 was the first day I posted the video. And so when I started doing morning coffee, I had already, well, no, it was October. Because I'm not so sure. But it was a minute before. It was a minute after I started, actually officially started the channel before I started doing morning coffee.
Yeah, because I feel like, I want to say I started watching you in 2018. I moved to the place that I'm in currently in 2018. And as soon as I got here, child, I was lost. And I found you through morning coffee. So
I heard that a lot. That was a big draw for a while.
Yeah. Another thing that I've paid attention to in listening and watching all your videos, you've mentioned, you slipped in here like different bits and pieces and points in times, music, which I love the idea of, like, because it makes me like realize like, oh, like this guy has like more than just this world of like tarot, like he has other passions. And I want to know what Eric's music would sound like. I want to know what his inspirations are.
Eric's music is like a mix between R&B, hip hop, and electro.
Oh,
I've always been kind of like a trance head ever since I was in high school. I remember one of my favorite things to do was to ride the bus to and from school and listen to like Trans World 4 or Junior Sanchez Dirty Dirty House mix. And like I have a love affair with deep house, man. That's just like house and electro are like my thing. That's my jam. And one of my favorite producers in the hip hop world growing up was like, duo really was like Timbaland and Missy.
Yes.
And my dad was a huge Jay-Z fan, so I was like, he's dope. Just so like that's the kind of R&B hip hop, like Aaliyah, TLC, all the 90s, like the good 90s stuff. That's like a good influence for me. But then I throw electro and hip hop. Electro and house on top of it.
Yes. Is this going to be something that we can hear one day, or is it just personal for you? Or
well, when I first started, I taught myself to produce music, actually, when I was with my ex. I used to be a dancer, and while I was with him, I was dancing and all that and doing all that thing, but then I left the dance world because it just became too much. But what I really wanted to do, what I always wanted to do was be a recording artist. And I was kind of using, I love to dance, don't get me wrong, but I was using that as a way to like slip my way up in there.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to happen. And so I quit the dance world and invested in some equipment and started teaching myself how to produce. And I produced like a 12-track album, and then I did like a little EP, like a 4-track EP after that. And then I was producing for other people. I was working with an artist called Megan Irving. I did like a remix for Bella Saona. But when I moved from the East Village to Brooklyn, my space that I had built in order to produce music within that had this real good vibe and flow was ripped away from me. So once I got to Brooklyn, I did a little bit more work, and then I just kind of like stopped. But I was also in school for it for a while because I was like, I taught myself, let me get some official training. Maybe I could work in a studio, this, that, and the third. All that shit blew up in my face. But like, whatever. So then now I'm in a place where I have a brand new system that I want to start using and writing music with again. But there's been all kinds of roadblocks in my way for the longest time. And so now I'm just trying to get back into the game. I don't know how I want to be in the game anymore, though, because I don't know if I'm really trying to be a part of the music industry anymore or something. But like, I don't know. I would love to write music again for everybody to hear. I just don't know when that's going to happen. I don't.
I mean, hey, you're in the perfect position. I mean, like your higher self has really, navigated you in such a way where you have a built-in audience. So I think, whatever you decide to do
and what I wanted to do right now is I really wanted to start researching and studying using different frequencies for like sound manipulation, like using different frequencies for meditative situations or just like and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but the computer that I built decided to die on me about 2 months after getting here to Puerto Rico, and it's been a real challenge to get it figure out what was wrong with it and finally get it replaced. So I just ordered a replacement motherboard, and so I'll be getting back into that soon.
That's another thing you know, kind of slip in there just here and there, like breeze over like it's nothing. You build a computer, like what?
Oh yeah, I built a computer. It was, and let me tell you something. It was like one of the most fulfilling things I have ever done, and I love doing it, and I want to continue to doing it because, okay, so here's the thing. When I went to a school in New York City called SAE, I don't know if you're familiar with it. You may have some of your audience members that are familiar with it as well. It's like comparable to something like Full Sail Academy, which is down. Their big hub is down in Florida. It's a sound engineering and music technology course. And while I was there, I got a whole package. And actually, my class was the last one to get this package. But in that package came a laptop, one of Apple's newer things, right? But I mean, I'm not here to shit talk, but like I was not pleased with it, and I just got to a point where I was like, it's not even necessary for me to stay with Apple anymore because it's not an industry standard anymore. Like I could do so much more with a Windows-based PC, and for a lot less money. So because I was fed up with Apple, I started researching PCs and like what would I really need in it, and then I slipped into the rabbit hole of custom PC building, and then it just like exploded from there. It's one of the most exciting and fun things because I've always been into computers, and so the fact that I got to build because I'm also a gamer, so I built myself a gaming PC plus a content creator that I can use to like edit videos and stuff. So, and I got so much more power for less than I would have had I not done it myself.
Yeah. And are you a native New Yorker?
I was born on Long Island, and I grew up in Westchester.
That's what it is. I swear, people from, you know, the whole New York, it's New York. Everyone from New York knows how to do everything. It's such a beautiful place.
I mean, we're very independent people, like, you know, and for me, the thing is, like, because I'm all kinds of fire in the sidereal system, which I follow. I'm an Aries with a Leo moon and rising. Like I'm all kinds of fire, man. Especially with that Aries energy, it's like, yo, if you're not gonna do it, just get out of my way so that I can, because I'm pretty sure it'll get done faster and it'll get done to my liking. So you know what? Actually, let's just skip this whole song and dance and just get out of my way. I'll do it myself.
Oh, I know that energy so well. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm from Tennessee, but I'm on the West Coast now, and also a fellow fire sign. So you know,
hey,
I feel that.
With that fire, yes.
Lastly, you've gone through many iterations with your channel. Like you moved Morning Coffee over to Patreon, which is so smart. Like you know that is your big draw, and like you work so very hard on it, and you do the monthly readings, you do the love gush. Like you do.
I haven't done that in a minute. I need to do that this month, especially because it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah, but you do so many things. I was wondering if there's anything that you haven't done so far on your channel that you are maybe wanting to try next. Because honestly, yes. I could watch you do anything. Like you're very entertaining.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And that's good to hear because I'm looking to expand my streaming. And I want to get into, don't tell anybody, but I want to get into astrology more. But see, here's the thing. I've always loved astrology, but I've always found it hard to follow, and it never always completely lined up for me in just the way things happen and in the understanding of it. And, like, I don't get it. Like, where are you getting these positions from? Like, how do you see the daily chart? Like, how do you do all that? I had always had so many questions. And now I'm in a point where it's just like, all right, I'm about to answer those questions for myself. And oh, by the way, I'm going to bring it to the people so that they understand it too. But I don't want to do traditional tropical astrology. If you've been following me, so you've heard me say this before, but anybody that's new to me, the first thing you need to know and understand is that I, as a budding astrologer, I don't resonate with, I don't follow with the tropical astrology, which is the mainstream version, because quite frankly, that's not where the planets are in terms of where in the constellations, period. Like that right there, for me, is enough to say, okay, so why are we even paying attention to that? Why don't we look where things actually are and figure out what all that means? So that kind of makes me a fringe individual to begin with. I'm not the only person to follow sidereal. There's another great person, a great guy out there over on YouTube, Mastering the Zodiac. If you're new to sidereal astrology, check it out because he really explains it well. But I want to bring that to the mainstream. So I'm looking to expand my streaming capabilities and get a little bit my thought recently has been replace morning coffee with like a daily forecast, something like that.
Ooh.
So that's something that's in the works right now. And I really want to incorporate tarot into that also and find a new way to bring sidereal astrology to the mainstream. So stay tuned for that one.
I even just like the name Daily Forecast. I like that. Well,
yeah, it's cute.
It is. I just want to say, from me to you, I appreciate what you do. I respect what you do.
Thank you.
And I thank you for what you do because I don't see, I like, for one, it's such an interesting, and it's one of the things that I've kind of like, just especially since the whole pandemic happened, is just dived deep into the world of tarot and astrology and all that kind of stuff. And I think you are someone who does it very well.
Thank you.
And it's rare that you, well, at least for me, I haven't seen many people who are both, Black and then, gay men out here doing it as well as you're doing it. I know there's you, and then there's also Boots Tarot, and then I've had the chance to, chat with them as well, and they're great. But awesome. you're up there for me, and I really appreciate what you do, man.
Thank you. I feel very honored to hear you say that. Thank you very much. Yeah.
So,
it means a lot.
What I'm going to do is, that's all the questions that I have, but I do kind of want to, like we were talking about, flip the tables around and see what kind of, I want you to read me. I've never really asked for somebody to read me before because honestly it sounds like an insult, but I know with you it's going to be positive. I know you're going to read me and it's going to be good. Hello?
It's an insult in our community in certain cases, but all right. Yeah, I'm very happy to do so. I don't know your first name though.
Okay, so my first name is Leonard. Ugh.
Leonard?
Yeah, Leonard. Okay. I don't go by it though. I never go by it.
Oh, I love that name. Well, you know why though? I'm a big fan of Big Bang Theory.
So, yeah.
And so I like that name. I think it's cute, but that's okay.
Hey, okay. So in the excitement of just talking to Eric, I completely forgot to ask this question that I had written down, which was, I really want to know how does your gift impact your social life, your dating life? Like, how does that work? Because I assume you could just, read people's energies so well, or just be able to pull a card and be like, this is not going to work. So how does it make it easier for you with dating and social life, or is it harder? How does that work? So I hit him up in the DMs and asked if he could give me his response. And this is what he had to say.
Okay, so I found that my gift is actually a bit of a detriment. Not to say that I'm better than anybody else, but I personally function on a different wavelength than many other people incarnated in life today. Many people are still playing the 3D game, and I'm really not trying to play that game anymore. I've come to a point of view where I guess you could call it a higher perspective. So traditional relationship norms and values and struggles and all that stuff, that doesn't really resonate with me any longer. So there's that element to it that kind of makes love life and dating in my position a bit more challenging, a bit trickier, especially since right now this is such a big time in human history for ascension and changing in perspective, and I'm helping kind of guide people there, so that kind of sets me off. It kind of like sets me aside from everybody else in a way, which feels very isolating a lot of the time, but it's kind of necessary. I've come to understand that. But in terms of the gift specifically, because of that whole like not trying to play that whole 3D game thing, it does cause another problem, because I can pick up on things from people. I pick up on people's emotions. I pick up on people's feelings, especially when they're trying to hide it. And so it's kind of, I do kind of feel like it scares people away a lot of the time, because it's like, well, you can read my mind. I can't necessarily get away with the normal deceptive tendencies or tactics that we would normally just accept and push aside in the traditional sense, in the current, for lack of a better term, unawakened society. Like, you can play games with people and you can get away with this, that, and the third, and nobody would be none the wiser because they're not psychic. And I kind of feel like people use that to their advantage when in the dating world, up until a certain point when they're ready to like really open up to each other. But see, me being the person that I am, I'm open right away. And I guess that's kind of something that scares people off too. And I guess it makes dating a little more difficult for me because I expect people to be open, if not right away, at least to a certain extent, open enough for us to vibe well enough to really get to know each other better. And not very rarely do I find that in people. It's interesting. I hope this answers your question. And then in terms of like being able to pull cards, I mean, and just be like, this isn't going to work out. Me being the person that I am, I tend to give the benefit of the doubt a lot. And I tend to see a lot of things from a lot of different point of views. So unless it's something that's a really big red flag for me in terms of like something I've experienced in the past with previous relationships that I know I don't want to tangle with this time, that's really the only time I'll cut somebody off or say no to something, even if I do see somewhat of an issue or a problem or a potential red flag. Otherwise, I'm open enough to like see the good in people and approach it from an unconditionally loving point of view, and recognize that everybody has their flaws. Nobody's perfect. So like, if I can work with that, even though I may pull some cards, we'll say, and it doesn't come out in all that favorable energy, I'm still that person. Be like, okay, but maybe I can give this a chance. Maybe it can work somehow.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm trying to take a moment to find a deck that wants to talk. I keep being pulled. I really want to use that one because it's so cute and pretty, but I'm being pulled to this one, so I'm going to do that. All right. So, and what I mean by I'm trying to find a deck, I have so many different tarot and oracle decks. It's definitely a guilty pleasure. It's one of those things that you just never stop buying because you can never. They're so pretty. They're just like, there's so many of them.
And some of them are like they're glittery and they're iridescent. Some of them they like kind of have like holograms on them. They're really enticing. I can feel that.
Amazing. They're freaking amazing. Okay, so do you have anything specific that you would like some clarity on, or do you just want me to start and get what I get and we'll go from there?
Get what you get. Yeah, let's surprise me. And I don't say that often, so I'm excited.
You're seeing, okay, so when I channel for people, I often see colors first. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing like this robin's egg grayish blue for you. And I'm trying to decipher what that means. I don't know why I'm seeing that, because normally I get some sort of, okay, I'm going to let the cards speak. But it's almost like a gray. I get this like dreary feeling from it. Blue is a color of expression. Mm-hmm. Your fifth chakra, your throat chakra right here, that's like it's a bold, like cobalt, not like a almost electric blue, right? Mm-hmm. And that represents communication. A light blue, I'm seeing a gray and communication and expression. I wonder if there's a blockage there for you somehow. Water, almost watered down, but not really. But then the gray aspect to it brings like this, like a cloudiness to it. I don't know what this is. Temperance. First card is Temperance. Temperance is a balance. Temperance is about harmonizing. It's about alchemy. Okay. So I wonder if you're kind of in a similar energy as I am. Yeah, Page of Cups is next. I wonder if you're in an energy of trying to refine your communication or refine your expression or refine how you maybe even achieve your goals here, because very interesting. You have Temperance with the Page of Cups, which to me, the Page of Cups talks about your dreams. It also talks about intuition, but the Page of Cups is like the dreamer energy, right? So this is the energy that you're like, you're starry-eyed and you're dreaming and you're whimsical and you're thinking. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, it froze for a tiny, slight bit, but like it's good now.
Well, the Page of Cups is the dream. What you want to do, what you want to achieve, and with that, okay. With that, you have the King of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles, but the Queen of Pentacles is in reverse. At the bottom of the deck, you have the Lovers. So this is all about balance here. And what I'm picking up for you here and now is this is a balance between your dream, right? This is your dream. So you're mature in the dream. You know what it is you want. You have the feeling, but how do you bring it into manifestation? How do you bring it into the reality? The Queen of Pentacles. How do you give birth to it? How do you give life to it? The Lovers. The Lovers is this balance between masculine and feminine energy for you here. And this is, what I feel like is happening here is you are trying to figure out how, quite literally, how to make your dreams a reality, how to flesh something out right now, and it's like you're trying to get your two sides of the equation, masculine and feminine, in tandem, getting them to work together. And then with this alchemy of the Temperance, it's like taking the two different compounds and mixing them together until you've got a nice copacetic mix. Is any of this making sense?
Yes.
You have underneath the Lovers the Queen of Wands to the Ace of Swords to the Four of Wands. I'm sorry, to the Four of Swords. All right, so the Queen of Wands is your energy. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just wanted to get this out there and then we can talk. The Queen of Wands is your vibration. When we talk about things like the law of attraction, I like to say the law of attraction is represented in the tarot by the King and the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is your feeling place. It's the space where you snuggle into you shift yourself into your vibration and you just sit there for a moment. All magnetic. This is the feminine side. So this is the side that allows something to come to you. It's magnetic. It draws you in. So in that sense, you're sitting here in your feeling good place, just feeling the good vibes, focusing on the good vibes, maintaining the good vibes. Then all of a sudden, boop, a window opens. And then the King of Wands can get up and get activated because that's when you take action towards whatever it is you want. So the Queen of Wands is the feminine side and just sitting back and waiting for that moment. The King of Wands is also sitting back. He's the masculine side, but he's sitting back waiting for that moment to strike, right, to take action. So what's happening here for you, what I'm getting is like with the Queen of Wands, the Ace of Swords, the Four of Swords, I wonder if something new has entered into the mix for you that's kind of changed the game a little bit for you, changed the way you may want to show up, changed the message or the voice that you have, or what it is you're trying to express, what it is you're trying to bring to media and whatnot, whatever. That's that Ace of Swords. And it's causing a little bit of a pause here for you, Four of Swords, because it's like, wait, hold up, we've got new information, we've got new intel. How do we make this work together? Which was then what would make the Queen of Pentacles in reverse here, because now it's like, okay, how do we bring that into tangible reality? Is that making sense?
Yeah, kind of. I think.
Okay, all right.
I'm wondering what this new thing is. It's kind of like a feeling, but I'm thinking.
Well, it could either be new information, and maybe this is something that's coming in for you here. Maybe it's either new information or like a new point of view. Because I like to say that the Ace of Swords sometimes can be that aha moment, that light bulb that goes off in your head. That's like, oh wait, what about this? All of a sudden, it's like, whoa, wait a second. But what this feels like is you've been rolling through something, you've been pushing or like rolling through with something for a while, and now it's like either you get some sort of new intel or you see something differently now that's changing, that completely like it changes the game. Ow.
Oh no, are you okay?
Yeah, I just got either bit or stung by fucking Puerto Rico. Anyway, it's like this really does feel like something. It's like there was a change in a perspective, change in a point of view, change in the way you see something, change in the way you understand something. That's kind of changing how something works out or something is manifesting for you. Is what this feels like. Talk to me. What is it? What is this making you feel? Because I could be going down a road that's not exactly what, you know what I mean. Like, I'm just going with so don't even take everything as verbatim. Like, take what I'm saying and fit it into your mind, and however it fits in there, like whatever comes up for you, like place it that way. Don't always take it literal, because I don't always get it literal. I get images, I get feelings, and I'm just interpreting that for you.
Right. The first thing. When you said my aura is like a grayish, bluish,
like grayish blue.
Yeah. The first thing that popped in my mind is like, oh, bitch, I'm sad. Oh no, he sees it. But I'm not.
Well, okay.
But I mean, it's not that I'm technically sad. I do deal with depression, so I'm thinking maybe there's something there. And then I don't know. I do feel a correlation between kind of like where I'm wanting to go career-wise and what I'm trying to do in that lane, and how, again, I mean, you say not take it literally, but I mean, truly it is like, you know, verbatim what you said, how to take exactly what I envision and how to kind of manifest that and make that a reality, and how to go about that. And then there is something that I'm really hoping to kind of solidify and get done and kind of work on as a passion project of sorts. And I am kind of thinking of approaching it in not necessarily the exact same way as before. It's still the same idea. So a lot of these things are making sense to me. I'm just trying to take it all in.
That's okay.
That's what she said.
Let's talk about what I want to talk about right now is this Queen of Pentacles. Because as you're talking through this Queen of Pentacles is feeling like a lack of fertility. But the strong thing I'm getting is a lack in a certain belief in, because you have the emotional maturity and the emotional foundation and stability to back whatever this is up for you. Okay. But when it comes to the physical execution, we'll call it, physically birthing it into reality, I'm just getting this feeling that there's a lack of belief, or maybe a feeling of lack of resources in terms of this. The Queen of Pentacles is very career driven, so is the King, but the Queen approaches it from like, whereas the King has a shit ton of money, the Queen of Pentacles has a shit ton of fertility. Like, she can grow anything. Like, she is like the epitome of a green thumb, you know. But so then, figuratively speaking, this would be the ability to plant the seed and nurture it and plant it in, like, having, and the resources in the symbolism of like fertilizer for that seed, you know what I mean? Like, having those resources at your disposal. I'm not saying you don't have them. I just feel there is a lack of belief in it.
Maybe a little.
What do you think?
Yeah, maybe a little. Yeah.
Okay.
The thing about it is, I've been doing a lot of, I've been doing, like, I've gone down a K-hole of just like those pick a card readings, and like, I'm addicted to them at this point. I need help.
They're very addictive. Like, I even had to wean myself off readings.
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch them as much as I used to.
Yeah, those are and then I've read my birth chart. I don't know how many times. Here's the thing. I was talking to this guy like towards the beginning of the pandemic, and he's an amateur astrologer is what he called himself. So we, of course, exchanged information. I put it into my pattern app. He put it into whatever he was like studying to like actually know this stuff, like, you know, like how a professional would. And he told me, you have like one of the more positive charts I think I've seen. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. And he asked me if I was psychic. I was like, I don't think so. And then he was like, okay, cool. We talked a little bit, and then nothing. I was like, so what did this dude see? What did he see something crazy? Like, so I started like thinking like, okay, maybe I should look into my own chart because he just disappeared.
Yeah.
So I started, looking into my own birth chart. I've read at least a good 50 articles about different planets, what they mean. And I've looked at my birth chart in tropical and sidereal. And then sidereal with and without all 13 signs. And then I did, then I started getting heavy into numerology. And then yesterday I went down into like, what is it called? Your person design or something? I'm a projector.
Personal design, yeah.
Girl, I just, I've ran a whole wheel around it.
I'm a generator. I think I'm a generator in personal design or whatever that is.
Nice. Yes, I'm honestly, I've gone to a point to where I've run myself ragged. Like, is this stuff actually like helping? Is this real? It's real. Is it real? I don't know.
Unfortunately, that's something that I've found with astrologers as well. Like, I haven't done many astrology readings because they're just like so pricey. Not to say that they're not worth it. It's just I haven't done it. But in the situations that I have done it, it's like the last time, he's really awesome, very good at what he does. But then I left that feeling unfulfilled. Like, I had like the questions that I had not been answered. And so that's kind of something that I want to kind of help clear up for people, I guess, in my own way. But it takes me studying too. But yeah, I understand what you mean by that. I totally understand. I've been there before.
Yeah. That's why I like what you do, because at least within the span of what you practice and what you show us online, there's at least some type of like, what's the word I'm looking for? There's like, you put a bow on things. There's some guidance there. There's some like advice there,
That is the intention. That is the intention. And to be honest, that's what sets, and I'm not trying to say that I'm better than anybody else or whatever, but that kind of is part of what sets me and some other readers apart from like the main flock, because it's like, sometimes I watch readings and it's just like, you're just telling me about love and I don't always want to hear about love.
Yes.
Or you're just reading the situation for me for like drama, and you're not really giving me any sort of like, okay, sure, you told the story, now what? Ooh, girl, that was some tea, this, that, and the third. All right, I'll see y'all for your next reading. It's like, wait, hold up.
Exactly.
What am I supposed to do? So like, that's why I'm here trying to be like, okay, I'll read the energies for you, but let's see what can you do about this? Because I'm here to bring you clarity, not just like be a showman and tell your life on YouTube, and I never even met you before. That's not why I'm here. So I'm glad I'm resonating in that way. I'm glad that's getting across.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this Queen of Pentacles energy, because I don't like this. Well, it's not that I don't like it. It's just like I just feel like, why is she in reverse though? What is her problem? Okay, let's talk about the Queen of Pentacles for a second. The Queen of Pentacles is kind of like, I like to say the Queen of Pentacles, she feels very Virgo-ish to me. Even though officially the Queens represent cardinal energies and the Kings represent Leo energies. So and the Kings represent fixed energies. So with Pentacles and the Earth, that would be the cardinal of the Earth sign, that would be Capricorn. Taurus would be the King. And then Virgo would officially be like the Knight and the Page. But the Queen of Pentacles here is giving me a Virgo vibe right now. I don't know if you have Virgo in your chart. You don't have to. What that means is she feels very persnickety and very perfectionistic. She feels she feels kind of uppity. Like she has this air about her that's just like super perfectionistic or very critical and very judgmental in what could be a positive and maybe helpful, beneficial way. It just, right now, it just feels condescending and overly critical and that kind of thing. It almost, I want to say, like, what is her problem? Like, what is keeping her? Why is there so much friction with her right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like the voice is always in the back of my head.
What?
It sounds like the voice is always in the back of my head.
Oh.
I've named her Deborah.
Right. I'm sorry, you named her Deborah.
Yes, huh? Yes.
Debbie Downer. Ooh.
There we go.
Yeah, she's a downer, all right. But why is she such a down? Okay, see, all right. she and I are gonna have to fight. Look, Seven of Swords and the Six of Wands in reverse. This is that overly critical energy. So the Seven of Swords is deception, lies, trickery, backstabbing, tomfoolery, stealing, trying to get away with something, or just straight up deceptive energy. Six of Wands in reverse is failure. But what I'm getting with this is that she represents a fear of failure. And this overly critical energy is in an effort, like they're trying, like it's in an effort to like get things to come together, or this is over egoic energy. This is like your ego getting in the way and like picking things apart and not letting the chaos of creativity just let something come together, and you can figure out all the details or flesh out all the nuances as you go. You don't have to have everything in line perfectly in order for you to get started on something. At the bottom of the deck is Justice. Okay, Justice is here to try and find the balance between these two. It's like this guy here is so passionate and has got so much creativity, so much flowing from him, and this woman, and then Debbie Downer over here, like kills it before it has time to like even set roots to start growing, let alone grow. You know what I mean? It's like, and the Justice comes into play here for you if you just keep moving forward. Knight of Pentacles, slowly but surely doing things piece by piece, inch by inch, one little bit at a time or whatever, not trying to carry all of it at once. Ten of Wands. Is that making sense?
Yeah, it's funny that you say the Virgo energy. I do have Virgo in my chart. I guess I don't know what I'm doing. I'm reading those things.
I mean, Virgo is in everybody's chart.
Right. That's what I was about to say. But what I was gonna say is because here's the thing. I read an article on soul planets, right? So like my highest degree I have is I think 29. That's Mars, and my yeah, they're like, it's like the I guess. What do you think? Fuck. How do you describe soul planets? It's like, I guess the most prominent energy in your chart or some shit like that. I don't know. I could be wrong. Okay. And then mine is Mars, which is all about action, but my Mars is in Virgo.
Interesting.
So it's hard for me to get started on things. I'm also slow to pop off. Like if I'm like angry, like I'm very that, which is, I think that's kind of fair. I think that's.
When you do pop off, it's pretty vicious.
Maybe it doesn't. Well, yeah.
I mean, because it takes you a while. It's like you have to like, don't poke the bull or don't poke the bear, because eventually the bull's gonna get pissed off, and then you're gonna get the horns. And it's like, especially if it's a bull coming after you, because they're gonna fucking charge full steam ahead, man. Hey, shit, you better get out the way. Ain't no slowing down there. You know what I mean? So
possibly. Yes, I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, all right. But that Mars in Virgo could potentially create friction and inaction for you, stagnancy, because of if that Virgo element. If it's like, if she's got a case of the ass that day, she's gonna put all kinds of roadblocks in your way just because she feels like it, you know, just because she can.
I'm sorry.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I'm stealing that. The case of the ass.
Yeah.
Oh, that's for the books. I'm keeping that. I'm sorry. That's so good.
I have my parents to thank for this.
Oh gosh, bless them. Okay, I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, but that's when you say that with Mars being in Virgo, then that makes a lot of sense as to why there is any sort of inaction in your life. So maybe this is a bigger read than just anything very specific for you. Any sort of inaction in your life, you may want to start by saying to yourself, okay, how can I lighten up on the requirements, or how good this looks or sounds at this moment? Like, can we like take the perfectionist out for a second and look at what we have and say, is this enough? Can we move forward with this and fine tune as we go? Because I may be stagnating myself with things needing to be too perfect or too refined or too fine-tuned or this, that, and the third. Because Virgo is all about perfectionism, just like the opposite, Pisces, is also about perfectionism. Virgo is about perfectionism on the material, the 3D, the physical plane. Pisces is about perfectionism in a spiritual sense, so like God's perfection, the ultimate, like, you know, and all that. So when you get into Virgo, Virgo can be very helpful. Virgo is all about triage, is about healthcare, is about being of service, being a provider. Virgo is a mutable energy. So mutable energies are like water. You put water into a container, it takes the shape of that container. Virgo is like, mutable is like the energy of the minion that you throw into battle to do all like you set the path and the tone, and they follow it, you know, and not to speak ill of, but that's kind of what mutable energy feels like. So Virgo being a helper, being a provider, a care worker, you would find Virgo as like a nurse or a social worker, that type of position, something like within those fields, even a doctor, whatnot, whatever. They can get perfectionistic because they're all about the details. They're all about optimizing, making something work at optimal efficiency, 100% efficiency, no waste, anything like that. But then that energy can go too far and instead of helping, it can hinder, because now you're not letting anything flow. You're just restricting because something doesn't feel right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sadly, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so that's why we're trying to balance, and you have so many cards of balance here, between the fact that you have the representation of the masculine and feminine here with the King of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles, which is beautiful. It makes perfect sense, especially since you resonate with me, and that's what I talk about on my channel, balancing and integrating and harmonizing that masculine and feminine energy within, right? Balancing out the polarity, but that's your first representation of it. Then you have Temperance, which is a representation of that balance, but fusing those two opposing sides together to create a brand new whole, a brand new compound. You have Justice here, which is also about balance, balancing the scales, and you have the Lovers, which is fuse that inner harmony within you, right? So that's that spiritual internal balance between masculine and feminine. The Two of Cups would be that external expression of it. Yes, so this is about you. Interesting.
Oh no.
Your feminine side is dominating right now. So now we're still at the bottom of the deck. You have the Emperor, which is your masculine side, and the Six of Pentacles to the Magician, to the Four of Pentacles, to the Ace of Cups. Okay, so what this says to me is, here's the narrative. Your masculine side is asking for a little bit of leeway here in order for you guys to manifest, because if you keep holding on to shit, you're never going to be able to move forward. So give the masculine a little bit of love here, and just like let him, flow a little bit more. Let your action flow a little bit more. Don't restrict it so much. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, obviously you can spend time planning and, wrapping your head around it so that when you actually go to execute, you have a conscious understanding of what it is you're doing. But especially if it's the first time you're executing something, you're not going to execute it perfectly the very first time. Come on, let's be a little realistic here. You know what I mean? And so as time goes on, you can continue to fine tune, where then it's second nature. And if you are really fucking up at that point, then you can beat yourself over the head with a stick. You know what I mean? Because at that point, you shouldn't have known already. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But is this, I see, because this happens. I just get on these waves and I just go with it. Is this making sense at all?
It is. Yeah. I mean, I've honestly, I've been feeling, especially lately, the need to kind of embrace more. So there is this masculine part of me that does want to kind of, because I tend to, I've noticed this in myself, I tend to allow people to get away with a lot, and then I get mad at myself when I keep holding on to everything at the same time. It's very...
That's the Queen of Pentacles.
Yeah.
That's also the Queen of Pentacles in reverse.
So it's like a part of me is like, just say what you got to say right then and right there. You can still be firm and gentle at the same time, you know. So I'm trying to implement more of that in my approach to nearly everything.
See, now if the Queen of Pentacles were upright here in the sense of that situation, you would be holding stronger boundaries because you wouldn't be allowing anybody to not keep up their end of the bargain. The Queen of Pentacles is also all about self-worth. You've been following for a while. You've heard me talk about that a lot. That's been a big thing for the collective lately. The Queen of Pentacles is not going to allow somebody to get away with something over and over again. She's not going to allow herself to be slighted. She's not going to allow herself to be taken advantage of. So that also could be what this is talking about here for you, especially with that Ace of Swords. This could be that aha moment that's getting you to see something differently and getting you to change the game. Expression. So if you're King of Cups all the time, you're just like, sit back and take it, blah, blah, blah. And your Queen of Pentacles is like, what the fuck, dude? Like, no, don't do that. It's like, well, no. So maybe, okay, this is also has to do with you recognizing, Ace of Swords, that you got to change your approach there. You can't just, you got to turn this queen upright. Either way, you got to turn this queen upright. This is all about how you get these two to flow in tandem with each other. And earth and water go hand in hand, just like air and fire. So like, it shouldn't be too difficult, but I get that there's something with this Queen of Pentacles. There's something with this Queen of Pentacles energy that you're having to iron out so that she can sit upright and y'all can be besties again, you know?
Crossing all the fingers, all the joints. Yes.
There you go. Oh, that's what happened. One of my earpieces died. Okay, go on. I can still hear you.
Oh, wow. Well, that was a lot. That was a lot to take in.
Was it helpful? Did it make sense?
It definitely made sense.
Okay.
Yes. 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 I'm just trying to see how to apply that.
Well, that's okay. It takes time. Just let it marinate. You know, don't just let it.
But it's interesting that you were able to pick up on a lot of those things.
Well, that's what I do.
Well, this was fun. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much again.
You're very welcome. I'm happy to do this.
And I think we're right at the 30-minute mark too for the reading. So.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So unless there's anything else, I just wanted to thank you again for this. It was really nice.
You got it. I'm very happy to do this. I mean, thank you for ordering this reading. Thank you for showing interest in like adding me to like your roster or whatnot. Like, I really appreciate that. Thank you.